Hi there BookTube, it's Janet, and today I've got my recommendations for Christmas reads, and you've got to start with the master, the inventor of Christmas, and that is Charles Dickens himself. And I have this absolutely beautiful book, and this is Dickens at Christmas, and if you can see that beautiful inviting shop window there, and this is sort of a compendium of different works that Dickens produced about Christmas. It does include A Christmas Carol in there. The end papers are beautiful, and it has some of his short stories in here. It has some excerpts from Pickwick Papers. So in addition to the Christmas Carol, it's got The Chimes, The Cricket on the Hearth, The Battle of Life, The Haunted Man and the Ghost's Bargain, and then different writings that he produced in the periodicals that he wrote for. And so that's the first one, so Dickens at Christmas. The next one I've got to show you is, this is a vintage classic, and this is Winter Holiday by Arthur Ransome, who I do believe wrote Swallows and Amazon. And this is Nothing ever happens in the winter holidays, or so Nancy thinks. Then the lake ices over completely, and the Swallows and Amazons, along with Dick and Dorothea, the Dees, plan a race to find the North Pole. How will they reach it if they can't sail? By sledges, of course. And there is a mix-up about signals. The Dees disappear into the Arctic night. Disaster looms. Can the Swallows and Amazons save their friends? So it looks like it's actually a continuation of the Swallows and Amazons story, and sounds like a bit of a Christmas wintry adventure. So there's that one. Next one I've got also in these vintage classic editions is A Red Bird Christmas by Fanny Flagg, and these are all in these gorgeous little books. They've all got like little Father Christmases on the back. And Fanny Flagg wrote Fried Green Tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe. And this says, Oswald T. Campbell, age 52, down and out in a Chicago winter, is given only months to live unless he moves south. He finds himself in the small town of Lost River, Alabama, where the residents are friendly, if feud-prone and eccentric to a fault. One of them, Roy, keeps a red cardinal, a once-wounded bird called Jack. Patsy, a sad, sweet little kid with a crippled leg from the trailer park up in the woods, takes to dropping by the store and falls in love with Jack. Flagg takes us on an emotional roller coaster ride through the lives and the hearts of an engaging crew of misfits, fixers and ordinary good-hearted folk, set against a vivid natural backdrop of a mellow Alabama winter. That just sounds like a bit of a cosy, friendly read. The next one I've got is Christmas Holiday by W. Somerset Maugham. This is, at the age of 23, Charlie Mason is endowed with good looks, good manners and a cheerful disposition. Following 3 years at Cambridge and one working in his father's business, he's looking forward to a jaunt in Paris with one of his oldest friends. Yet Paris is not what he expects. In just a few days, his young eyes are open to the tragedies and ugly dramas of its underworld. So that sort of looks like maybe a little bit more of like a Dickensian type, Christmas, but looking at maybe some of the darker side of life and maybe time for giving. The next thing I've got to show you is, I love a bit of like a cosy comfort read over Christmas. I think it's a really good time for to do what we didn't realise in this house that we do quite a lot, and that is the Danish hygge. We do love settling down on the sofa with the blankets, with something nice to nibble on, something nice to drink, fire going, candles, and reading a good book or watching a film. And so the perfect reads to go with this are, I always find, a nice cosy read. And so one of the authors that I discovered this year is Barbara Pym, and this is the first one in a series of books she wrote, and this is Some Tame Gazelle. And Barbara Pym is so acute in her observations of character and personalities and the good and the bad sides of everybody and the gossip. And all these books are set in the English villages. There's always like vicars and spinsters in them, and gossip and cake and teas and things like that. So these are just lovely reads. The next one I've got to show you is you can't go better at Christmas than a bit of Harry Potter, and I am reading the Harry Potter books for the first time ever. I've actually only read the first 3 so far, but what I have enjoyed reading last year and now this year is the illustrated Harry Potter books, and this is the next one, and this is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and these are absolutely beautiful books. And so this is an example of some of the beautiful illustrations that you will see. Fabulous picture there of Moaning Myrtle, and these are illustrated by Jim Kay. The next book I've got to recommend to you is just a sort of an example of another genre I love to read at this time of year, and that is the cosy crime. And so who better than Agatha Christie herself, and this is the ABC Murders, and this is one of her Poirot cases. This is one I've got to read. Absolutely love Agatha Christie. She is such a clever writer. She writes beautifully, and I never have a clue what the solution is. It completely keeps me guessing all the way through. So I love a bit of cosy crime, so what better than a bit of Poirot or even a bit of Miss Marple. Also at Christmas, I love a little bit of a romantic read, and so I've got a nice classic here, and this is a Georgette Heyer book, and this is Devil's Cub. Now, I've had this on my shelf for a while. I've not read any Georgette Heyer before, but I believe she's absolutely fantastic. So I'll just read you the blurb from the back of this one. The excesses of the young Marquis of Vidal are even wilder than his fathers before him. Not for nothing is the reckless duellist and gamester called the Devil's Cub, but when he is forced to leave the country, Mary Challoner discovers his wicked plans to abduct her sister, and only by daring to impersonate her can Mary save her sibling from certain ruin. Oh, I just love that kind of thing. It just sounds absolutely wild. So the other romantic reads I've got to show you now. I read this one last Christmas, absolutely loved it. And this is Calling Mrs. Christmas by Carol Matthews. And if you just look at the cover on that book, that is beautiful. And this just follows the story of a woman called Cassie who, I think she's made redundant. She's out of work, and what she really is good at and what she loves is Christmas and decorations and things like that. And so she sets up her own business where she starts to provide services to people, where she will shop for gifts, she will wrap gifts up, she will decorate homes, and then there's a nice lovely romantic story and a trip to Swedish Lapland. And it is just gorgeous. I loved it. So yeah, this is another great book for Christmas romance. And the next ones I've got to show you. Now this is an author I haven't seen anything of on BookTube at all, and I absolutely love this author's books. She actually comes from just down the road from where I live, and that's Trisha Ashley. And some of these I've read, some of these I've got to read, but these are all romantic stories, and they tend to be set in Lancashire, in Lancashire villages, and they're absolutely glorious, and the covers on these books are fantastic. So the first one I've got to show you is The Magic of Christmas, and if you just look at that lovely little village scene, I don't know if you can see, but they do actually sparkle as well. So there's that one. We've got A Winter's Tale by Trisha Ashley, and there's that one. Beautiful, big, stately home. The next one I've got to show you is The 12 Days of Christmas. I have actually read this one and I just loved it. It was great, where, you know, they get snowed in, and but just look, I don't know if you can see again, we've got sparkly bits, we've got the big house, and all the characters are in them, as you often find in Lancashire, are completely batty and completely like eccentric, but it's just great. The next one is Wish Upon a Star, and there's that one. Just absolutely beautiful covers. And then the final one I've got to show you is A Christmas Cracker by Trisha Ashley. So there's that one. So these sort of great cosy comfort reads, brilliant for curling up on the sofa with, a bit of romance, a lot of Christmas in there, really gets you into that festive mood. So they are my recommendations for Christmas reads. They're the kind of books that I like to read over Christmas. So let me know what you like to read. If you've read any of these, let's have a chat in the comments down below. If you've got any recommendations, let me know as well. I shall see you all soon. Keep reading. Bye.